Welcome back to Interview the Bothan. While there are no Bothans in the Chiss Ascendancy, that we know of.
They could be anywhere.
They are invisible. They can go invisible. But even more so, there are no Bothans in canon except for that one offline.
Goddamn.
There is a concerning amount of xenophobia. We're your hosts.
Oh, Lenny.
And myself, Lou. How you doing, Lenny?
Mid?
Yeah. How was your meeting yesterday?
It was long.
Long?
Yeah.
8-hour meeting?
It was an 8-hour meeting where we discussed demands for our union that a lot of the input that I had was already given because I'm on the exec of the union, so my perspectives on our collective agreement are well documented, but it was good and right of me and productive to show my support to the bargaining committee in their endeavors. Well, now we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah. How are you?
Well, I didn't go to the bargaining conference yesterday. I'm all right. Having a mentee as per usual. Work is work. Keep having to read really weird.
For research?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it all comes together. If you just are interested in weird enough shit.
You're like, wow, these people talking about Diego Luna, would be perfect for my thesis on Greek nationalism.
Yeah, well, actually, to be more specific, the chapter on Dirty Dancing Havana Nights, starring Diego Luna, is in a book that also had a chapter on a movie about Axis-occupied Greece, in which the author of that article talks about the idea of Greece as a crypto colony, which then led me to research what the fuck that is. So quite useful. So shout out Diego Luna for being in Dirty Dancing Havana Nights.
And you saw Kiss of the Spider-Woman 2
Yes,
weeks
I
ago?
did. No, I saw it this past Tuesday.
I don't know how time works.
I don't know how time works either. Not a good movie. Don't pay for it. But if you want to...
Wait for home video.
If you want to see how bad JLo's makeup artists probably hated her, worth a watch. Or if you want to see...
Did you enjoy it?
I did enjoy it. Also, if you want to see a child's rendering of what the golden age of Hollywood probably looked like, also...
You can watch The Greatest Showman.
Yeah, that too.
Which is actually kind of a good movie, to be fair.
I haven't seen it.
But it is... I think you'd like it.
Is it about the circus?
Yes.
The circus is interesting.
Wait, no, I'm thinking of the wrong movie.
Are you thinking
of that Steven Spielberg movie where he's like, I'm a little boy.
Oh, the most recent one that he won an Oscar for?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I don't either. Doesn't matter. But yeah, overall, things are going.
Yeah.
Got a bunch of stuff to grade. Got a bunch of shit to edit, both for this and for my real job. And they might not be on strike anymore.
That's interesting.
So then I'll have to do it in person.
After having done all that?
Yeah. Today, we're covering the first book in the Thrawn Ascendancy Trilogy, Chaos Rising, which was published on September 1st, 2020, deep in COVID times. Obviously written by Timothy Zahn.
Indeed.
And obviously published by Del Rey. So, Lenny, the onus of this is falling on you. Because,
yeah.
Yeah. What the fuck is the Chiss Ascendancy? All of these things before we get into the plot summary that you so graciously wrote. Graciously.
So we've previously known this part of space as the unknown regions. To its denizens, it is obviously not unknown, but still chaotic. So they call it the chaos, because apparently there's a lot of weird, astronomical anomalies that make hyperspace travel really difficult. So a lot of cultures are either really intermashed or really separated from each other. And hyperspace travel is quite difficult, which more on that later.
We're getting so doomed with the navigators.
One of the cultures of the chaos is the Chiss Ascendancy, a multi-planetary civilization governed by 9 ruling families. And since the government of the social system of the Chiss Ascendancy is new to us, I'll spend a bit of time sketching it out so the plot summary makes more sense and I don't have to do multiple verbal footnotes. So the 9 ruling families make up the government. It's an aristocracy, basically. Within each ruling family, there are internal political and familial hierarchies. It is possible to be adopted into a ruling family based on merit. When you are adopted, you start at the lowest level of familial bond, merit, adoptive, with a chance to advance to being a trial-born and then to being a ranking distant. And then, of course, there are cousins and blood relations, who rank highest within each family. And just like a quick note on naming conventions, because I also think they kind of reveal a lot about the importance of family. So it's one word, compound name, who we are familiar with, myth, Thrawn, Naruto. The first part of the name designates a person's family. So myth. The middle part of it forms kind of part of a person's core name, so Ra, like the given name. The last part indicates a person's position status. So we meet Thrawn as Vuran Neuro, but he doesn't have the Oro yet, and he's from the Kivu family. There are circumstances under which one can be detached from their family: expulsion for dishonorable conduct, achieving flag rank in the military, or being a Skywalker. Yeah, and then a note, I guess I'll go right into the summary then? Or do we have anything else to clarify on?
No, because I want to talk about just culture later. Time for the plot summary.
Plot summary.
Time to talk about what we're talking about.
Yep, but just a quick note on the structure of this book. It's another dual narrative split between Thrawn's past and present, each chapter of the past providing context for the present. The thing that's sort of wonky about this, though, is that the narrative of the past chapters, which are titled as memories chapters are somewhat more like vignettes. Even though, yeah, it's split in dual narrative, I'm just going to go in chronological order. So memories. Vuran, a bright boy from the ass end of nowhere, is recruited to the myth.
It's called Rentor.
Is recruited to the myth, one of the 9 ruling families. He is put in military training and is renamed Thrawn. Years later, as a cadet, Thrawn sees a 13-year-old girl, Aliastov, crying about her future. She is a Skywalker, so the Chiss navigators through hyperspace, but she is losing her abilities in the third sight. After he comforts her, she gains new resolve to take control of her life, with one of her goals joining the myth, because that's Thrawn's family.
She's so you.
She's so me. You were nice to me once. I'll remember that forever and keep ardent track of your career.
Garbel Iblis, what are you doing here?
It's me. Later, Thrawn is then almost kicked out of the military academy for seeming to cheat on an exam because he just did too well on it and it was suspicious. But his bestie, senior cadet Ziara...
Are they besties at that point?
I don't know, not really. But
she was just there.
She was just there.
She was administering the test.
Yeah. Well...
At this point, they just are acquaintances, barely, I guess?
You're right. Ziara thinks he, in fact, did not cheat and loops in General Bakif into the situation, and together they prevent Thrawn from being expelled, proving that he did, in fact, do something never done before.
He beat the Kobayashi Maru.
He did. Now, in the military, Thrawn is part of an investigation into some pirate activity. He requests an official task force to investigate a potential leak between this pirate activity and the Liao Aoin regime. At this point, now friend, Mid-Captain Ziara worked to isolate the belligerent Liaoin forces and smoke them. This proves controversial as the Chiss have very strong laws and cultural taboos against preemptive strikes, which is going to be a recurring theme. Thrawn is nevertheless promoted and is assigned as Ziara's 3rd officer aboard the Parala. An Arizi aristocrat, Zistalmu, is tasked with recruiting Thrawn to the Arizi family. In his overtures to Thrawn, he points out that the myth are maybe miffed with Thrawn's consistent recklessness and tells Thrawn that the Arizi would value his military prowess, not resent it. He even offers that Thrawn join the Arizi not as a merit adoptive, but as a trial-born. At the same time, Ziara is promoted to Commodore, earning flag rank. Her name is now Aralani, as she is no longer of any family. She is of the Chiss Ascendancy. Thrawn finds her at her celebration for her promotion and freaks out at her about the options presented to him, and ultimately decides to stay with the myth. Zistalmu and Thurfian, who's that myth aristocrat from before, share their concerns with each other about Thrawn's recklessness. They don't care how brilliant he can be. There is too much potential for ruin of the entire ascendancy within Thrawn.
Allegedly.
And so that was some details from the memories. Now we're in the present.
It's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
It was a long time ago beyond.
It's the same fucking galaxy.
Beyond.
It's the unknown regions.
It's what it said.
I know. I'm publicly announcing my beef with Timothy Zahn. It's the same galaxy. It'd be like if there was a galactic civilization, like in another spire of the Milky Way, and they were like, oh my god, that fucking planet over there. Like,
come on now.
We're still the same place. Just because we are in like the middle of nowhere, kind of galactically,
doesn't mean that
we're not in the Milky Way.
Okay, so fresh off a controversial campaign, which context clues leave me to believe is outlined in the events of Outbound Flight.
And as someone who read Outbound Flight, it's Outbound Flight.
Word. Thrawn is recruited by General Bakif to investigate the appearance of a derelict ship in an outer system of the Ascendancy. Chilla has just been attacked, and Bakif believes the attack was intended to divert attention from the presence of this ship, which is full of dead refugees of unknown origin. Bakif pulls some strings and gets Thrawn put back in command of the Springhawk so that he can investigate the origins of these mysteriously massacred refugees. Aliastov, now Thalius, a myth merit adoptive, tries to get herself on the Springhawk as a caregiver to a Skywalker, but only gets appointed when aristocrat Thurfian intervenes on her behalf, so long as she agrees to spy on Thrawn for the myth. Little does Thurfian know that Thalius is most likely too down bad to want to do that for the myth in any meaningful capacity. Thalius and the Skywalker she is now caregiver for, Cheery, tentatively bond. Thrawn has the Springhawk follow the most likely vector that the refugee ship followed, and his guess proves fruitful. They find a ship floating in a 4-star system that is under blockade by an unknown force. Thrawn makes friendly contact with some of the living representatives of the refugee species, who we learn are called the Pakosh. He learns that the Pakosh are from Rapak and are in this state of oppression, and there being whole ships of them that are fleeing to other systems because of the oppression of the Nicardun. Thrawn devises a plan to investigate further by going to the Vac Combine, which the Nicardun have been demonstrating interest in colonizing. Thrawn and Thalius go undercover in the Vac Combine as Artistic Master Savorno and his hostage concubine, which is a made-up role to make
Who's also just named Thalius.
Who's also just named Thalius because she's not known across the chaos as a problem.
Imagine, okay, so there's a bunch of black holes that prevent you from, like, effectively doing hyperspace travel. And you are still known as a problem across the chaos. They actually named the entire part of the galaxy after Thrawn.
Yeah, in advance of him.
Yeah, no, they knew.
They knew.
He's destined, like Anakin Skywalker.
Indeed. He is the chaos.
He is Blue Anakin.
I'm glad we got that in. Thrawn meets the Nicardun leader, Yiv the Benevolent. They have a tete-a-tete about art. Thrawn and Thalius escape in a shipping container where they also have deep talks and play cards.
And don't fuck.
And they don't fuck. Thrawn requests that he get sent on a recon mission to lesser space with Thalius and Cheery. Bakith assents, but Thalius is then intercepted by Thurfian, who's being a bitch. He wants Thalius to report on Thrawn, but again, she is too down bad. When he threatens her with saying that if she doesn't report on Thrawn, then he'll expel her from the myth, then she says, well, fuck you, I'm going to do the trials. But that means she can't go on the mission. So then it's just Thrawn and Cheery who go to lesser space, also known as the Galactic Republic, which is when Thrawn crosses paths with General Anakin Skywalker and, well, if you read Thrawn Alliances or listen to us talk about it. And we all know how that goes. Parentheses, Thrawn gets the cool shield tech and he brings it back to the Chiss, which is huge news because it's a very good shield. Thrawn, with the shield, has a plan to make the Nicardun back off in their attempts to colonize the Vac. He plans to demonstrate that the Vac are being just fucked over by the Nicardun in no uncertain terms. This plan works out, the Vac are freed, and the Nicardun are sent running. And then the book concludes with us being introduced to a new mysterious malevolent force. He's not mad that the Nicardun have been making the Chiss kind of freak out about threats that lurk beyond their borders. But now he has greater plans for destroying the Chiss in more subtle ways. Based on context clues, I think he's Grisk.
What if he's Yuuzhan Vong?
They don't exist anymore, right?
No. So we're starting with the thoughts, feelings, and concerns.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we totally forgot about that.
We totally forgot about thoughts, feelings, and concerns.
So, Lenny, my boy.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about this book?
Yeah, it was a fun read. I read the first half of it in a night because it's really, I don't know, I have mixed feelings about seeing Thrawn in such a sympathetic light. But I also think that his tendency towards finding democracy stupid is definitely alluded to here.
Well, they don't live in a democracy.
They don't live in a democracy, but it's like when he's...
It's like being like, oh my god, Mohammed bin Salman doesn't like democracy? He goes to a place where, for a very brief moment while he's there, there's a republic.
Yeah. Well, but then he's like, based on this...
Democracy is stupid.
Democracy is stupid because these people are just fighting each other with droids.
Most unnatural.
Most unnatural, indeed. I thought it was really fun to see the overlap between this story and Thrawn Alliances. I love that Zahn basically just copy-pasted the dialogue from that. Yeah, no, it was just sort of like Mithra Naruto? Mithra Naruto? That's in this. And it's also really fun to see it from like Thrawn's perspective because he mutes himself and like turns to Cheery and is like, this guy's stupid.
Who is this motherfucker?
Yeah. Skywalker.
What kind of fucking name is that?
Yeah, I think he probably mispronounced that. He certainly
wouldn't have such a stupid fucking name.
Yeah. I also, like, having seen Thrawn and Arlani interact at the end, like, during the events of Thrawn treason, it is really fun to see that they go way back. This is sort of like a thought I had that's not an original thought, because it was inspired by reading a review of this book on the blog Minok Manor.
Banger name.
Banger name.
Much banger.
Yeah.
Much more banger than our name.
Interview with a Bothan.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's long and people are like, what the fuck is a Bothan? I'm just like, well,
they'll never get it. They're too busy thinking
we're
about...
the only ones with the clarity of purpose.
Thinking about memes.
I don't know. I find that I wish it was a little bit less vibes based. The concerns of like Thrawn being like the harbinger of doom to the entire ascendancy.
I think it's funny.
It is. But like I go back and forth between being like, well, this isn't really logical, and then being like, it's a Star Wars novel. Shut the fuck up. To myself. I'm interested to hear your thoughts and feelings. Oh, it was also fun to see that because I earlier episodes have me theorizing about like what Thrawn's people think of his artistic interests, and it's very clear that I was in fact wrong because they're all like, what
the fuck
is this guy on?
He is smoking crack.
Yeah. Which, like, another thing, like, to be fair, there are ways to explain art analysis that are not just, I don't know, it's just so clear to me, but I couldn't possibly articulate. Well, yeah, I know that.
Can he even read? We don't know.
Yeah, he reads things on his Questus all the time. Like,
I love saying shit like that, though. It's so funny. Can Luke Skywalker even read?
There's scenes of him reading.
At least he's acting like he's reading.
He can at least read dates and the Jedi archives.
Well, if Rebels is anything to go by, the Jedi archives is just videos.
True.
So there are ways to talk about art analysis.
Mm-hmm. Well, because it's also just like, I understand that, yes, Thrawn is not a trained art historian, but like clearly he does do his own research, like when he's concocting his alias as artistic master Savorno, he has this idea that he'll be there to research whether or not the Vax and the Garwians did have a trade relationship thousands of years ago. And then someone says, like, well, that's a stupid thing to research. And he's like, well, no, but it's an obscure and heated debate. And I feel like if you know about academic debates, you also probably would have spent time with methodology, you know?
Just like Anakin's Jedi thesis?
Yes.
Well, that's not obscure. Everybody knows about that.
Everyone knows about the
tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise.
Yes.
Only a fucking idiot would ask someone if they had ever heard of the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise.
The fuck is Zoroastrianism?
Well, my first concern is that there was not enough Simacro in this book. Even though Simacro is mentioned every chapter.
It's just not enough.
I just need a book on Simacro.
Yeah.
And AO3 does not fill that void for me because people do not care about him.
They should.
He's beautiful.
He's such a hater.
He's a beautiful baby boy.
Mm-hmm.
And I love being a hater and reading about other haters.
Yeah, it's important to me
as
well.
It is. Okay, so I do have thoughts about this book. Read it for the first time, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago?
Mm-hmm.
Read it again 3 days ago. Yeah, I do like the split narrative, which I do really like. It's very fun. I find this very swag.
Nice.
Also, I kind of, at this point, care more about the chaos than I do the Republic or the Empire. And, like, I know that a lot of the stuff about the Chiss is in, like, Hand of Thrawn and New Jedi Order, but I'm literally younger than Vector Prime, and at this point in my life, do not have time to read 20 books that I'm not doing for a job. Booked out for at least the next 14 podcast recordings. So, yeah, it'll probably be warm again, unless we go back to weekly. Did you know there are also women with personalities in this book?
That's also really swag.
It's so swag.
Yeah.
It might be the first time that's ever happened.
In all of Star Wars?
In all of Star Wars.
100%, yeah. Except for Padme's personality just being, I hate autistic people.
Whose personality?
Padme.
Oh, yeah, Padme does hate autistic people.
Yeah.
But Padme didn't have a standalone book till, like, 2018.
Yeah.
Also,
yeah?
Okay, this is just, like, a kind of tangential thing. A lot of people who, like, don't like these books, I guess, on the internet, or, like, have complaints about these books.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, da-da-da-da-da. The chaos is just, like, in the Ascendancy, it's just so similar to the Empire. Which, like, no.
Yeah.
No, it's, like, very different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think they understand how governments work.
I don't think so either.
Or types of government.
We talked about this last episode, I think.
But we could talk about it again.
We could talk about it again, because it is, like...
No, I feel like last episode we talked about the perception of Thrawn. We didn't talk about the perception of the Chiss Ascendancy.
No, because I remember going on a rant about how people think that all fascisms are the same.
Oh, yeah, we did do that.
Yeah.
But I'm talking more in, like, a bureaucratic way.
Okay, yeah.
Just functionally very different.
Yeah. No, people think that they're functionally similar.
Yeah, the Empire is, like, a military dictatorship.
Yeah.
And the ascendancy is like at best feudalism.
Yeah. No.
I think.
Definitely. I mean, I think maybe the reason they think that is just because, like, in both books focusing on the Empire and in the Ascendancy Trilogy, the protagonists are all in the military. So, like, it's all through the lens of, like, the relationship between, like, military and, like, the political structures. But I think that the way the military interacts with politics in these books is
Very different.
Very different. Because what's been really interesting to me in sort of like expanding how I think about the world in general through reading fucking Star Wars novels.
Now you think about the military.
And now I think about the military. And I also think about like the relationship between like the military and culture.
And this is how we know you're a coastal elite.
Indeed. Because I only know one guy in the military.
I know 5 guys that are retired and like 6 that are ended up going, getting commissions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No.
That's off the top of my head.
That's crazy.
Yeah. One of them used to bring me back candy from Japan every time he would come home for his leave.
We'll talk more about it later, I guess, but just like the...
No, that could be a good segue.
And to preemptive
because
strikes.
I also have, I don't know where to put this, but the unknown region is a lot more like Earth geopolitics than the Empire itself, which is obviously an allegory for like Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
But like the way that the Ascendancy like interacts with the Pakosh and the Nicardoon and the Vat Combine and shit is like a lot more reminiscent of like the way people are dealing with like Ukraine.
Expand on that.
Not our chair, not our problem.
Yeah.
It will not be our chair or our problem until they invade Poland.
Yeah.
Which changed from it will be a problem when projectiles hit the ground in Poland, but then that happened and everyone moved to the fucking goalposts. Where that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot more fractured.
Yeah.
Which is really saying something.
Yeah. No, because...
But then now we can talk about your military thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is my military thing. The
is
beyond
that
what I
people
already
join
said.
the military and it exists.
Oh, yeah. No, people join the... I don't know. Well, I guess it's sort of like the relationship between like the military and culture and politics in this is very much centered around like Chiss notions about preemptive strikes.
But then also that it's like a noble deed.
Yeah.
To join the military.
Indeed. That because the way the family structure of the Chiss works and like family is so linked to politics, like who is deemed as worthy of being like officially adopted by a family is related to what they can contribute to the family's image.
Yes.
And so having someone in the military is
one of those ways
to do that, as like a way to like indicate your family's honor and like contributions to the ascendancy. That kind of like goes into a different thought process that I was having about like what it means for personal relationships to have, or at least those who like are join families as merit adoptives, what it means to have your family bonds be conditional on what kind of honor and prestige you can bring and the potential psychological damages of that. But that is kind of unrelated to...
It's not really unrelated.
Yeah.
I do have... Just can kind of get us into things.
Well, I mean, I guess it's like related because you see that sort of like push and pull with perceptions of Thrawn within the myth, where they back him selectively when his career seems to be going well. But then many inflection points for Thrawn in his career, like, for example, when he was almost expelled from the academy, like no one from the myth showed up to represent him, or at one of the times that he was brought in for both a commendation and a slap on the wrist, a myth family member was also not present.
No, I think it's really interesting because you bring up that like nobody showed up to his thing, but then in chapter 18, where Thalius is at the top of that mountain, the Rocky like literally goes out of his way and he's like, it's your job, because he's an old piece of shit now, I guess. He says, really, child, you've already repaid my trust many times over. Even now you stand guard between my greatest achievement and those determined to destroy him. And she's like, oh.
Thrawn?
That dude.
He's a mess.
He's a mess, and I'm totally not gonna disclose that I joined the myth because I'm obsessed with him. And then he goes on and says, I saw greatness in him, Thalius. Greatness, skill, and loyalty. He will be my crowning, the memorial staff that will someday stand close beside my own, if he survives. So, like, we do know that the Rocky chose Thrawn, essentially because he wants Thrawn to eventually be the patriarch of the myth.
Yeah.
Which is fascinating in and of itself, because A, that means that you can become the patriarch.
If you're a merit adoptive from a
if you're not, like, blood.
Yeah.
Which also goes into the fact that I guess at one point they, families were just families in the way that we perceive them, but I guess they had a little bit of like a Habsburg situation or something. And they were like, okay, we really need to start bringing in
New blood.
fresh blood. Or that they, like, you know, the whole, like, good times make weak men bullshit. But I just find that really interesting because, like, Thurfian fucking hates Thrawn so much.
Yeah.
Just, like, so intensely. And then Thraki's just, like, sitting on top of a mountain and be like, I can't wait until I die and then Thrawn dies and then we get to be buried next to each other. And...
Yeah, because that's also a really interesting... Like, it's like, how popular is Thraki's, like, perspective on Thrawn, you know, or how popular is
I don't think
Thurfian's?
it matters.
I guess it doesn't matter.
Like, I mean, we do know that, like, Thurfian got it out for him.
Yeah.
You know, like, he
he
is the hater of all haters.
He hated Thrawn when they first met.
He was like, wow, this fucking idiot.
Yeah.
This fucking idiot doesn't understand. But no, and then I did end up going on the Wiki page for this. Because I just had questions. Because I was like, okay, well, you know, it really just seemed like... But yeah, so I went on the Wikipedia page. Turns out the editors be lacking.
On the Wikipedia page?
Yeah, for the canon.
Yeah.
And I'm not you. So I didn't write an entire Wikipedia article.
I didn't write, I just edited a minor detail.
I know. But then I got the urge, though. I was like, maybe I should do this. And I was like, I literally do not have time.
It's respectable.
In any capacity. But on the Legends page, I did learn that we should read New Jedi Order. Because a lot of this stuff comes from, like, Force Heretic. And Jagged Phil. Which is the only reason Baron Soontir matters. It's because his son ends up marrying Jaina. Or, like, fucking Jaina. I don't know if they actually get married. Which is, like, a crazy thing to... I miss him.
Baron Soontir?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a quote from him on the Legends page. It says, you see, the Chiss are taught... And I think this is from Force Heretic 1. I could be wrong on that, though. So I might just edit it to say Force Heretic. You see, the Chiss are taught from the earliest days of training that it is not the person holding the position that is important, but rather the position itself. Individuals must allow themselves to be subsumed into the role society expects them to play. If you ask for someone by name, they would on principle not talk to you. If you ask for them by rank, however, they would not hesitate. How do you feel about that? Because that kind of goes into your, like, how traumatic is it to get ripped away from your family?
Like, if you say rank before the name?
No.
You know, just like you just say captain?
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you say just straight up Thrawn, they're like, who?
Who? We don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, you mean the senior captain of this vessel?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's right there.
Oh, yeah, I got him. I mean, what's interesting, though, is that I wonder if that's more true for Chiss relations with outsiders than Chiss relations with each other. Or depending on the setting.
I mean...
The military. Because I'm thinking about when...
Well, how many people, like, meet
okay, here's an example.
of the myth?
Not many. But here's an example. When Arlani is promoted to Commodore, and Thrawn comes at her freaking out about the Irisi approaching him, when she pulls him aside, says, you know, when it's just the two of us, I can call you Thrawn and you can just call me Arlani. And he, like, stumbles over his words for, like, a hot minute. Because, like, which I guess, like, indicates how big a deal that is, that, like, she views him as him as a person and not his rank, which I think he's not used to.
Yeah.
You know, because now this is characterization that I think is more extrapolated on in fanfic, but, like, the idea that, like, Thrawn has just always viewed himself as a tool, because, like, which I think is an accurate way to describe how he fits in here. And I think that's how he's taught to engage with others.
Okay, so Thrawn views himself as a tool.
Yeah, and also views others as assets. It's not that he devalues others necessarily. It's just...
He just doesn't understand.
Yeah.
Well, because it's like, okay, so the way I understand that the military works is that, like, when you lose your family name, that's just the equivalent of getting, like, a commission. Like, as soon as you have a commission, like, you are a commissioned officer. As opposed to, like, junior captain, which is, like, a non-commission. Like, you enlist and then you work your way up to that. I learned all this when Katrina's boyfriend was talking at me about joining the Navy. So it is the equivalent of, like, you know, obviously, like, the admiral equivalent. But, like, the Commodore kind of, like, that is... It is people who have either gone to school or the government was like, we will give you a job forever, please stay.
I see.
It is the people that are destined for, like, the political sphere of politics.
The political sphere of politics?
Yeah. If that makes sense. Like, a military as a non-partisan organization still has kind of, in what the what Thrawn would and Samacro would describe as a political structure, where like you have, I'm going to talk about this in the context of the United States because the CAF is an enigma to me. So you have Donald Trump, right, who is currently the head of the U.S. Armed Forces. Then you have the generals, the guys.
Yes.
2 of whom I think were fired. One of them was because she was a lady.
Word.
Then you have like the Admiralty. Then you have that kind of top-down structure. Once you get up into the like, I'm commanding a fleet. I am in charge of like 10 to like 50,000 people. I would say that is like the political aspect of the military. Is you are not just dealing with like shit-kicking fucking 19-year-olds. You're doing paperwork. You're the one who's like in charge of fucking court-martialing people. You know, you're going and testifying. Like, you're doing a lot of other stuff that's like not, it's military related, obviously, but it's not like me and my buddies went to the strip club after we murdered 7 children, you know, like, and they're usually older, and a lot of the guys have like known each other for decades. So you get a lot of the interpersonal beef that like was started, you know, in the first Gulf War.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes. The thing that confuses me, though, in the Chiss context, is that so far it seems somewhat rare that people lose their... But I guess we just don't know that many characters. We just know... Because, like, the way they categorize that, like, level of being commissioned is calling... I don't know if that's also a thing that's in, like, real-life militaries.
Bakif.
Like, the flag, when you're promoted to a flag position.
Yeah. I mean, A, probably
status.
B, it's the equivalent of like a commission.
Okay, that's, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
To get a commission, you have to go to one of the academies.
Did not, okay.
Here. In the real world. In the United States. So like, they send you to go get a fucking degree. Because basically, like if you joined the military right now, you would enter on a commission.
Oh, word.
Because you have, and if you did it in 8 months when you're done with your master's,
allegedly,
like you don't really have an option. Like, you can technically enlist, I think. But
you're like, wow, I see your master's degree in religious studies. That'll be useful.
Well, no, because you know how to like organize data and shit.
Right.
You're not going to like a trade school to learn how to like work on stuff. They would find a place for you. You would get inserted in like the middle of the hierarchy. Like there are people in the military that have PhDs. And the military pays for them.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a commissioned officer in a nation's armed forces.
Wow.
An officer is a person who holds a position of authority. Commission sources and training. Commissioned officers generally receive training. This is off Wikipedia. Shout out Wiki. I love Wikipedia. It's my favorite online encyclopedia. It's so much better than Grokpedia.
Yes.
Or Conservapedia. They receive training as generalists in leadership and management, in addition to training relating specifically to their military, like their MOS, their occupational specialty or function. Many militaries typically require university degrees as a prerequisite for commissioning, even when accessing candidates who enlisted. So, like, you can enlist, you don't. In the United States now, you need to be a high school graduate. My dad did not graduate high school. He was in the military. The Australian Defence Force, the BAF, the Nepali Army, the PAF, the Swiss Armed Forces, Singapore Armed Forces, the IDF, which that one's not the surprising one here. The Swedish Armed Forces and the New Zealand Defence Force are different and not requiring a university degree for commissioning. But in the IDF, a university degree is a requirement for an officer to advance to the rank of lieutenant colonel and beyond. But they also pay for it.
Cool.
And then naval officers receive academic degrees as part of their training.
Cool.
Because they're all engineers.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they exist in there's 8 services. Oh yeah, because the Space Force.
Oh God.
But the Space Force does not have a warrant officer ranks.
Okay, how did we get here?
Give me 1 second. I want to tell you exactly what the ranks are in the real world. Commodore is a real term.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
It felt real.
They have flags. Did you know that? Why is there not just a fucking list?
I don't know.
Okay, that doesn't matter because there's not a list on the Wikipedia page.
Trash.
Ass. Basically, Aralani is a bad bitch with a
commission.
With a commission.
Cool. What?
You could be one.
I could be what?
You could be a commissioned officer.
That would be really funny. I think it would really surprise everyone in my life.
It would be hilarious.
It would be really funny. But going back to the book.
Now that we know what a flag officer is.
Now that we know what a flag officer is, the other thing that's interesting about family, the military, and belonging, and people's usefulness is that apparently, which this is learned in the conversation that Thrawn has with Zistalmu when Zistalmu is assigned to poach him for the Arizi, it is a very appealing offer for Thrawn to join the Arizi as a trial-born without needing to go through the trials, because apparently if one is a merit adoptive and one finishes their military service, they lose their family status.
Yes.
Yeah.
I also learned that.
Yeah. Which is really, like, what does that mean? That's, like, how, I don't know. I guess I don't fully understand, like, how fucked are you if you don't have a family to rely on?
You would be reverted to your birth family.
Yeah.
I kind of gathered it as more of like a patronage thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where like they are guaranteeing you kind of like political protection. Mm-hmm. So therefore if your family does not have the clout, I guess,
mm-hmm.
would be the way to put it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, unless you're Thrawn, you'll get legal representation
mm-hmm.
and shit. And like a bed and food.
Yeah.
I don't know if they get paid.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works.
I don't know either.
Nobody ever talks about money.
No one ever talks about money in the galaxy far, far away. Except for when they do. But not in these books.
No.
Except for what
they actually have a barter system.
Yeah.
In the Ascendancy.
Interesting.
So, okay. You know the prelude for this book?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Isn't it? I guess you haven't read.
No, I haven't.
The romance.
But I looked into it on the metro ride over here.
You were like, damn, this is fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, I am one of those people that watches Chinese dramas.
Hell yeah.
Which is how I learned about this originally.
Mm-hmm.
Except I feel like I mostly watch stuff about like the Qing and Song dynasties.
Mm-hmm.
But there's this 14th century like historical romance novel called The Romance of the Three Kingdoms. And the opening of the first chapter of that book on the Wikipedia translated from this. The first like line, I guess, or section. It is a general truism of the world that anything long divided will surely unite, and anything long united will surely divide. At the end of the Zhao dynasty, 7 kingdoms vied for supremacy. It became part of the Qin dynasty. Similarly, after the Qin dynasty was destroyed, the Chu and Han vied for supremacy and became part of the Han dynasty. The Han dynasty has ruled over a unified emperor ever since Emperor Gaozhou chopped a white serpent in half. Based. Later on, Emperor Guangwu re-established control over the country. After that, the control of the empire was maintained throughout the generations until the time of Emperor Jian, whereupon the empire divided into 3 kingdoms. If one were to deduce the origins of the Han dynasty's decline, one might start with Emperor Huan or Emperor Ling. So then if you go to the prelude of this book, for thousands of years, it has been an island of calm within the chaos. It is a center of power, a model of stability, a beacon of integrity. The 9 ruling families guard it from within, and the expansionary defense fleet guards it from without. The neighbors are left in peace, the enemies are left in ruin. It is light and culture and glory. It is the Chiss Ascendancy. Do you see why I think that sounds really similar?
Yeah.
Does that make Thurfian Emperor Huan?
I don't think Thurfian's powerful enough. He's a mid-level aristocrat. To be on the level of an emperor?
Doesn't he?
He gets promoted to first speaker in the next book.
Oh, he becomes a patriarch.
Thurfian?
Yeah.
Well, not yet.
Okay. Well, yeah, no. But kind of like the grand scheme of things.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also almost like biblical in the way that they talk about these kind of lineages. And it's also just incredibly jarring because you like, the prelude is there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you open the first chapter and immediately
Chaos.
Everyone is like at each other's fucking throats and they all hate each other. And Thurfian is like, why did they make me take care of this autistic child on a plane for 2 days? Or like on a ship, which like, get real, dude, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And like Thurfian fucking hates Thrawn, and the Aziri and the Myth fucking hate each other.
And the oofs.
Except they're doing
Yeah.
like Soviet American espionage type shit. It's crazy.
And the Ufsa and the Myth are beefing over some mining prospects, which is also bleeding into their ability to respond to a attack.
Yes.
The grandstanding from like the first chapter. Well, it's the preface or whatever the fuck. The prologue, that's the other word.
The prelude?
Prelude, one of those P words, like, because it's just like General Bakif describes it as making soothing sounds to the Syndicure.
It's like they're babies.
Literally, because they're all just sort of like all trying to get on record saying like the most braggadocious thing possible about what the response should be.
When it's like not their fucking business.
It's not their fucking business. I don't know. And it also like, this is, I think, a very childish and such an obvious analog to draw to like be almost not worth mentioning. But like, fucking, I found it to be very like 9/11 coded. Us being introduced to the Chiss Ascendancy as this like beacon of civilization around the world, and then they're attacked, and then you look under the hood and you're like, oh, what the fuck is going on here? No one knows how to run anything.
The Ottomans, they would murder each other to become sultan.
Yeah.
And they were considered like the beacon.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that like literally every society that like projects itself as a beacon is like that's never like fucking Rome.
Yeah, Rome was
a mess.
Rome was a mess. Greece was a mess.
Greece was a mess. Yeah.
No, I thought it was like, and I did put this in the notes, but I thought it was like very reminiscent of kind of like a feudal society where, you know, even though these people have no right making these decisions, they look like Robert the Bruce. Sorry, you can tell I've been listening to Weird Medieval Guys because I keep just bringing up.
Yeah. Well, I've been listening to that podcast about how much this guy fucking hates Bill Maher, and all they're talking about is the war on terror. So it's
based. But yeah, if you look at those, or like if you look at like popular understandings of kind of like medieval warfare, someone who is a knight does kind of do get rid of their family ties. And they are kind of like, I guess, sponsored by the king. But then also the king and his court, they have no fucking clue what's going on at all. But when they're like, we have to go bring Christianity to Jerusalem. Now you're going to Jerusalem. Now you're on a 6-month pilgrimage. And you could desert, but then your honor's kind of fucked. You can't go home. You don't speak any of the 18 fucking languages they spoke in Jerusalem at that point. Anti-Arab monoculture person. You know, they're not speaking Aramaic or Amharic or Hebrew sometimes. But only sometimes. And I do think it's very similar in that regard, which is very different from like the Empire in the way that it's a very like Emperor Hirohito. What if we tortured these people? Kind of vibe. But I do also see the connection to the War on Terror.
Yeah. Well, because it was also like both the talking about the Chiss Ascendancy as a projection of a beacon of light, and then the chaos, and then the debates about a preemptive strike. Like the talking about a preemptive strike all the time, like, which I know that the 2003 invasion of Iraq is not the only example of a preemptive strike in history, but
I can think of several.
I know. Well, because if you look up preemptive strike, Wikipedia says, do you mean preemptive war? So we have the 1940 German invasion of Norway, where Germany had been, quote, compelled to attack Norway by the need to forestall an Allied invasion, and that her action was therefore preemptive. So, okay.
My second ball.
Look at that beautiful ball.
I got 2 beautiful balls. It's gonna be...
You're like fucking Lyndon B. Johnson over here with 2 massive, beautiful balls.
I have a giant dick. Would you like to see it? Too bad. It's already out. Oh no. My ball.
You threw your ball at me,
fell
man.
on the floor. I was trying to throw it on the couch.
Couch? Fuck. Stay. Okay. Fuck.
It's an inanimate object. Okay.
I know.
Do you wanna...
I have a note to say.
Okay.
In relation to preemptive strikes and me dying on the hill of this being 9/11 core, even though it's I'm dying ambiguously on this hill. Like, Jesus. because if you resurrect me from this, I will admit that I'm wrong.
Well, that's
But
a first.
huh?
I said, well, that's a first.
That's not a first.
It was a joke.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, oh my god.
I have never met anyone as bad at politics as Helen. Do not ever assume that politics are involved. Because they're not.
Wow. That's you being so macro. I got that.
Cool, because it was like almost beat for beat.
I know. Me. See, I understood the subtext of that very obvious joke. Okay, but here's the thing, is that, again, it goes like, the treatment of the Nick Ardoon here, I feel like it goes back to, like, the fucking issue with Star Wars and the monoculture problem, is that, like, I refuse to believe that the entirety of the Nick Ardoon are, colonizing motherfuckers, you know? But, like,
Look
that's...
at Britain.
Every single one?
Low key.
Yeah, you're right. They all are. I think this is just me being hypersensitive to an extreme of not trusting things made by Disney most of the time. Is that, like, Chist's response to the Nick Ardoon threat, and also, like, Thrawn really, really loving military intervention, but also his love of military intervention being, like, painted as very, like, sympathetic, just, to me, felt...
Dick Cheney?
Yeah. It's just, like, a little icky.
That's fair.
You know?
I don't think we know if it's every single Nick Ardoon.
No. Well, I think we do in the next book.
Well, that doesn't... I was just informed that does not matter.
Okay, whatever. I'm just full of contradictions today.
Contain multitudes. No, I think conversations about preemptive strikes are very interesting, and not to sound like a reactionary conservative, but instead to sound like a reactionary anarchist. The way in which the kind of, like, ambiguous leftist will talk about war and the way that wars are fought. And I'm not someone who's like, I love war. Or, like, you know, whatever. But it happens. Nothing I can personally do at this point in my life to stop all war.
Yes.
Mostly because people love building new shit. Like bombs and planes. And you don't need anti-radar paint on a civilian jet.
No.
So then you're going to build a stealth jet because you want to use cool anti-radar coating.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how that works. You know, sometimes you're just like, damn, I really love particle accelerators. And then the next thing you know, Nagasaki is uninhabitable in certain areas.
Yeah.
And everyone gets cancer. And you call Oppenheimer Oppie. I'm still thinking about that woman.
Which woman?
She's one of the people that worked on the Manhattan Project. She was like an immigrant from... She was a Chinese immigrant. She was going to go to Michigan, ended up not going to Michigan because Michigan at the time still segregated by gender. Ended up going to one of the UC schools. Got in real good with Lawrence, who was the guy that, like, invented one of the first particle accelerators. This was, I was going down my particle accelerator rabbit hole that I was talking to about a couple weeks ago. Because I have fun. I know how to have a good time.
Yeah, you do.
Like, getting really high and then watching videos on particle physics for hours on end. But yeah, no, her Wikipedia page is so, like, narrativized. It's just really obvious that the person who wrote it does not speak English as a first language. And it's, like, really nicely written. But it just has all these anecdotes. Like, she called Oppenheimer Oppie because he was her favorite white man. But yeah, no, sometimes you're just really into shit, and then you inadvertently commit war crimes or are forced by your government to commit war crimes. Back to the preemptive strikes thing, is the way that people talk about war, is they're like, oh, nobody should ever start wars, which is just, at this point in time, not a feasible solution, either on Earth or in the chaos, really.
Yeah.
I say, as we're probably going to have a war very soon, because the economy is doing bad.
Yep.
It makes the economy good.
It's true.
I'm cutting that, because that makes me sound like a warmonger. But, like, Belarusia and, like, Georgia. So in Georgia, because this happened in Belarusia now, Belarus, and now it's a Russian client state again. So Russia really wants to be the Soviet Union again, even though obviously the successor to the Soviet Union is Kazakhstan. So basically what they've been doing, they tried to do it in Ukraine, and they tried to do it in Georgia, and they tried to do it in Moldova with their last elections. is they basically run these bot campaigns online and try to commit election fraud. And it's like, people are speculating that they did this in 2016 in the United States as well, and 2024. Is they basically go in and they're like, da 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 da, look at all these like pro-Russian people that are online and like voting and talking and like da da da. Like Russia celebrated the like win of the pro-Russian party in Moldova. I'm like 99% sure it's Moldova, but I'm not 100%. Before the votes were counted.
Oh.
And then, like, they have been using that as a way to invade because they're, like, liberating the people who want these pro-Russian governments. It's really given Nicaragua. And that's not to say the United States doesn't do that, but when you're talking about things like preemptive strikes, not to sound like a apologist, but, like, if you know, sometimes it is really worth it to listen to your intelligence and maybe do something about it. And, like, you said that that list mentions Pearl Harbor as a preemptive strike, which I would argue it's not, but that's beside the point. That's just declaring war. Like, sometimes you just declare war on people.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily, like, helpful or kind of conducive to running a good society to always be on the defensive when it comes to military stuff. If you, like, are living in a society that has a military. Because then you get, like, Nazi Poland.
Yeah.
And, you know, Imperial Japan's control over Manchuria and Korea. It's like, if you don't have the defense kind of budget or clout, I guess, what do you, like, it's not smart.
Yeah.
Look at what's happening in Ukraine.
It's not good.
It's not smart.
No. Yeah.
Maybe NATO should have done something about that.
Yeah. Maybe. But it's also like
Poland
really
keeps begging. and Finland and Latvia and Lithuania and
but it's also I don't know, because it's also really interesting, like going, like looking at this as like Thrawn's origin story, right? Like his urge to like break Chiss military protocol, like at least in this book, is like painted as like his moral stance against needless death.
Yeah.
Which is just such an interesting development to be aware of in who he becomes.
Well, like, ignore rebels.
Yeah. I mean, he still glassed a miner's strike, which I guess that was fucking Arenda Price, but...
Yeah, that wasn't really him.
That wasn't really him.
He was trying to be like, Knights One, please!
Please go to the Chiss Ascendancy.
Please,
like, we'll have so much fun there.
You need to help us with all of these threats that we cannot talk about.
Yeah. Wink.
Totally aren't these on bomb.
No, definitely not. I mean, I guess sort of building off the Chiss's military role and changing position in the chaos because of Thrawn's actions. I think a character that I didn't bring up in the plot overview, even though he is very important, but I did my best to edit for time and clarity, is Keylori, who is a navigator of the Navigators Guild.
Wow, I wonder where they got that from.
I don't know, man.
Can't think of any other science fiction series that has a Navigators Guild in it.
Well, do you think it's Dune?
Yeah, Keylori.
Some of these chapters are from his perspective, which is fun because then we get both new perspectives on the Force and a perspective of like one individual who's not Chiss on the Chiss. And I guess starting with the Force, which I don't want to get too much into, is Keylori, what we know as the Force, is called the Great Presence, and the Chiss call it third and second sight. So that's cool.
Why?
Why is it cool?
Yeah.
I guess because the main interaction that we get with Force users in Star Wars is with the Jedi. They're sort of treated as having a monopoly on Force use, which is, you know, problematized in other Star Wars media with like the Acolyte, and I haven't seen Ahsoka, but there are Force users in that, right? Those witch gals.
Well, they're also in, let me grab it. This bad boy, which has a bookmark in it.
Cool.
It's my favorite Mormon book, The Courtship of Princess Leia.
Oh my god.
Where Han Solo kidnaps Leia after shooting her with a gun that makes her crazy.
Fucking what?
George Lucas brought us the blockbuster Star Wars film trilogy. Then some of science fiction's best writers expanded on the adventure in their best-selling Star Wars novels. Now the tradition continues with the culmination of a love story. It spans a war-torn galaxy. Though Darth Vader and the Emperor are dead, the Empire lives on, and the weakened Alliance must find powerful new help to help it survive. The answer could lie in the Hapes Consortium, a cluster of 63 high-tech worlds. There's only one catch. Princess Leia must marry the Queen Mother's son, the dashing and wealthy Prince Isildur. Han Solo reacts badly to this news.
Classic.
Tricking Leia, he flees with her to the beautiful but untamed planet of Dathomir, which is not like the Dathomir
From Ahsoka.
that's not Dathomir, that's a different planet.
But the witches are from Dathomir, right?
They're Night Sisters. They might not be Dathomirian Night Sisters.
Okay.
But that's where Darth Maul is from.
Oh,
You know that sad red planet that he's from?
Oh, yeah.
Where there's no plants?
Right.
Yeah. Beautiful but untamed. He shoots her with a gun.
Damn. And
I like that nobody's ever read this book.
it's great.
And then there's things about the last command on the front page. Sorry.
Yeah. It's always fun when you bring that book up. I love Mormons.
Mormons are so funny.
Yeah. But Keylori's like inner monologue about the Chiss when he gets assigned to work with Thrawn. Like he doesn't want to work with the Chiss because they're so like wrapped up in themselves. Quote, they had a strange and infuriating blind spot where the rest of the chaos was concerned, as if every other species was entirely composed of particularly clever animals, or else had been brought into existence solely for the Ascendancy's benefit. And
not to continue my NATO analogy, my NATO United States analogy, or I guess my Turkey United States analogy, my Turkey United States NATO analogy. When you're talking about preemptive strikes in places like Poland, is the reason that NATO has not given any help is because the condition that the United States, and by extension, I guess Donald Trump, even though I think he's having the same experience Ronald Reagan had, if you catch my drift, is that NATO members cannot buy oil from Russia. Who is buying oil from Russia?
Turkey.
So then it puts you in this weird position, like as a state. I'm not talking about the people individually, but where there's obviously a threat, but then nothing can be done about the threat. And then the alliance itself is kind of moot. And now, Russia is invading everybody's airspace. Russia is the reason that, like, German airports keep having to shut down because they keep, like, doing fuck-ass shit to the GPS systems. So, like, what is a preemptive strike? Are these other people animals? Why don't you ally with them? Why are you so racist?
Great question. Because when Thrawn is... Also, just want to note real quick that this is from Memories 5, that Keylori's little monologue about the Chiss. When Thrawn is proposing to Beckheath that he go and smoke out the Li Aoin pirates, he says to Beckheath, don't worry, I'll be able to tell friend from foe. And Beckheath is like, friend? Hold on there. The Chiss Ascendancy doesn't have friends. Like, we don't associate with others. And I guess I feel like Thrawn at least sort of like falls into like both categories of like viewing the non-Chiss as sort of highly intelligent animals and also beneficial to the Chiss Ascendancy or like assets to be used.
Well, we are highly intelligent animals.
Yeah, we are. And assets to be used. But I guess like that sort of goes into like other thoughts I have about Thrawn's characterization, which I think is something that we will talk about with more ease, perhaps, just because once again, it's autism o'clock.
Well, now we can go into the autism stuff. Now we can do that. That's a good segue.
Yeah. I guess what's interesting and sort of like a new perspective we get on Thrawn through this book is just sort of him being kind of like, that which like sort of like goes into his like him being like autism coded is the way that autistic people sometimes are like perceived as being too nice, just because like sometimes you just sort of see that like a kindness in a situation would just sort of make logical sense, even if it's not what the social script is.
Yeah.
And...
bold of you to assume I know the social script.
Exactly. But it's sort of laid out in Thrawn's early interactions with Keylori, which is that Thrawn makes an effort to like learn Keylori's name and find out what kind of tea he likes. And Keylori is like, bitch, what the fuck? Like, no one talks to me. Like, I'm here to do a job. Like, why do you care about me as an individual and you want to build a professional relationship with me, you fucking freak?
Which is such a weird thing to freak out about, but I guess...
Yeah. I mean, I think for Keylori, I think it's because he's like keeping everybody's state secrets, but also works for the Nicardoon. Yeah.
So yeah, I have an entire little section about Thrawn being autism coded. So I think the two biggest things, and I think this is like why I find the memory section so fascinating in this one, is that in just Memories 2 or Memories 1, Thurfian is like thinking to himself after he picks up Thrawn, because Thrawn is like, how long is this going to take? Like, I have school tomorrow. Which, me. Where he's like, Rentor wasn't exactly a political and cultural hub, and Thurfian knew that he had to make certain allowances for a certain degree of ignorance. Even so, such a lack of awareness set Varan apart from the unsophisticated commoners around him. Still, if Bakkeef's assessment was correct, the boy would be heading for the military career. Politics weren't nearly so important there. Which, people with autism love structure. You know what's got structure?
The military.
The military.
Yeah.
They tell you what time to wake up, and when to go to bed, and when to eat. And it's nice to not have to think about that. I don't know about you, but sometimes our admin person in our department once asked me, like, was really concerned that I was not okay because I was lamenting about the fact that I had to like figure out what to eat every day, because it's just like a kind of undue
it's difficult
mental load on me. I don't know. It's stressful. And I go through phases where I eat the same thing every day for 6 months, because then I don't have to think about what I eat, which I find interesting. And then, as you said in the summary, like, the Chiss kind of have their own version of the Kobayashi Maru, which I know that you are not a Star Trek guy, but it's like a no-win.
I looked into. I saw it in that one. I looked it up.
And in J.J. Abrams' Star Trek movie, which I watched when I was 8, and it is very pretty, the way that they talk about the Kobayashi Maru in that is very similar to the way that, like, the way that Spock and Kirk are interacting in that scenario is very similar to the way that Thrawn and Arlani are interacting in this version. Because it's like, well, yeah, I know you're not. Why did you do this? Why did you, like, beat it? Why did you have to cheat why did you have to beat the game? Because if the game at the end of the day, presumably, this is also kind of an unbeatable scenario. It's a no-win scenario. You shouldn't be able to figure out how these things kind of manifest. But he's just real good at pattern recognition. Maybe he's schizophrenic. Maybe Thrawn hears voices, and that's why he says weird shit about art.
He's like, I can't tell you what the art is saying because
it's talking. It's talking to me.
It's saying that the Pakash are a matriarchal society.
And, like, it does kind of set up this interesting dynamic that, does exist in other stuff, I guess. But remember when you were like, why is he being such a bitch to Eli Vanto? Why is he being so cold and weird to Eli Vanto? And then I was like, wait, no, I have things to tell you. You're going to be fucking mind blown. And I think we recorded that before you started reading. Yeah. So he's treating Arlani that way. And they have been homies by the time of that book for like 35, 40 years, you know? So it's like, that's just how he acts after, and Arlani knows that by that point, because she's known him for 4 decades. And then when you were like, it's so sad that, like, he didn't ask Eli how he was.
I feel like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad, but, like, you can't, it's not like he was like, oh my god, Arlani's my best fucking friend. I'm gonna act all buddy-buddy with Arlani. No, he was like, Admiral,
we have a job to do.
Yeah, and they are OGs. They go way back. Way farther back than Eli and fucking Thrawn do. And they're getting the same treatment. Which does mean that it's interesting, because are they on the same level, like, in Thrawn's head? Which kind of goes into the xenophobia thing with Kilori and the, like, not understanding social situations. Thrawn is exile at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, like, and not to bring up the Nazis again, in the same way we bring up the War on Terror every episode. Time to bring up the Nazis. It's the Nazis, I mean, Asperger's. Asperger was a Nazi. And it was a designation that you were autistic, but you were useful enough to the regime that you were not going to be sterilized or killed. And that does not exist anymore. A lot of people lament the fact that there are not, like, different kinds of autism anymore. Because there's a difference between someone who doesn't, I mean, none of us understand social skills. There's a difference between being a grad student, especially a grad student in religion, and, like, you know, there are people who, like, autistic people who are nonverbal.
Yeah.
Or
need full-time
and
care.
there are nonverbal autistic people that are really smart. Like, that's...
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I think I take issue with when they're like, well, there needs to be different kinds of autism. Is it is very much like a mix and match thing. If that makes sense. Like, symptoms-wise, like, not everybody presents the same way. Like, no two people present the same way. As someone who has really severe ADHD that nobody caught for the first 20 years I was alive.
Yeah, that doesn't resonate with my experience at all. I don't...
Yeah, you're peer-reviewed.
Yeah.
You got peer-reviewed autism.
And ADHD, bud.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird bitch disease disorder.
You got weird bitch disease disorder.
No, I'm just from Boston, man. That's why I'm like that. Well, then also, like, part of, like, his autism characterization is also his obsession with art.
Yeah, he loves art.
He loves art. Yeah, and, like...
His special interest.
Exactly.
Not to sound like the AO3 bitches, but...
I don't know, I have, like, a whole bunch of quotes of disparaging comments people make about Thrawn and art. I think my favorite one is when someone says, oh, like, Thrawn's not here right now, he's reviewing some tactical data, and someone was like, I didn't realize that's what the CDEF was calling art these days. That's interesting.
It's fucking funny.
Yeah.
It is a funny joke.
It is a funny joke.
It's a funny fucking joke.
Yeah.
But, like, people, I mean, obviously, he's producing results, and like even Thuraki, like him, which I think is kind of his saving grace. And that's the issue with, like, people don't live forever. Not to spoil anything because you have not read it yet, but, like, you know, when Thuraki dies, what happens to Thrawn? Because, as I'm sure you're aware, some people, they can tell, like, and they will, you know, and it's the way where it's like, a lot of people are like, oh, da-da-da-da, my parents refused to think that I had autism, but, like, the girls on the playground, they knew. They were very aware.
Yeah.
That there was something wrong with me. Not wrong with them in that kind of way, but you know what I mean.
Something's off. And I don't want to play with you. You go run around the building for all of recess because no one's going to talk to you.
What if they have bull riding in the Chiss Ascendancy?
I feel like they would.
Probably on Rentor.
Yeah.
But yeah, Thrawn also has, on that note, very black and white thinking.
Yes, he does.
He does. And everyone thinks he's kind of fucking annoying and weird. But they're like, no, you're not allowed to shit talk him. Only I'm allowed to shit talk him.
Yeah.
He's our bumbling idiot.
Yeah. No. Or because that's a lot of, like, some macros in her monologue when the, like, weapons officer or whatever, like, makes a comment about Thrawn's aptitude for things. Samacra's always like, you better shut the fuck up right now. But then in his head, I hate Thrawn.
Why am I doing this?
Why am I here? I hate my life. I hate my boss. He's so fucking crazy. But
my boss is smoking crack in the officer's bathroom right now, and he's gonna come out and tell us that this alien species we're interacting with, like, really likes jazz music or something.
Yeah. Next thing he's gonna come out of his office and he's just gonna be Artistic Master Savorno. He won't answer to his real name.
He's so mean.
Next time you see me, I'll be a completely different person.
Every time I see Thomas, I'm like, what the fuck? We need to talk about the not date. I have it in here. This is the not date. I really want to talk about the not date. But also,
Thrawn
oh my god, have you ever gone on a date that you didn't know was a date?
Yes, definitely.
Same. It hurt a little too much.
Yeah.
It made me cringe a little too much. Now I'm gonna grab my trade paperback version of this book that's not water damaged like the other one. So what's really funny in this one is that the first line is, General Bakif had told Ziara that she had good instincts, but she quickly learned that good, unfortunately, did not mean perfect. And it, like, isn't specifically, like, they're never, like, she's just kind of, like, miffed that he wants to go to an art museum, and she's like, you want me to learn?
Well, no, because, like, I have the thing. Hold on now.
And then they fight, and that's all that matters.
Important.
And then they don't fuck.
Sure. Fuck, I just need to go to Memories 4.
Do you want it? I can give it to you right here.
Please. But I also have my highlights on.
Oh, my bad.
It's on the first page. It's beautiful. Because, like, okay, so it's after Ziara helps Thrawn not get expelled.
Yes.
And then Thrawn invites her out to celebrate as a thank you for her help. And when she meets up with him, it's at an art gallery. And she's miffed.
She's like,
he
I
says,
wanted to go drinking.
Well, yeah, because she's like, you brought me to an art gallery. And he goes, of course, giving her a puzzled look. Where did you think we were going? You said there would be insight, drama, and the excitement of discovery. She reminded him. There is, he says.
He's so funny.
I know. It's just like...
No, but then they fight. And it's a very dramatized fight.
Yes, it is.
I think Zahn is very good at writing melee combat.
I don't know what melee combat is.
Sticks. Swords.
Sticks. Yeah.
Close combat. Not guns.
No.
I mean, I'm not saying he's bad at writing large scale, like warfare. That's not what I'm trying. But I think he's really good at writing close combat stuff.
Yeah. No, because what's really funny about this, right? So, like, Thrawn is, like, going through this art exhibit saying, let's look at this art, and I will tell you what makes this culture tick. And Ziara is like, interested in what he's saying, but also feels like he might potentially be full of shit. So then she's like, well, I have an idea. I make sculptures in my free time. What if you take a look at those sculptures and then we fight? And let's see if you actually can determine what my fighting tactics will be if you see my fucking wire
Which
sculptures.
is so
Thrawn.
me.
Yeah.
I love doing shit like that. I love fighting people.
You're like, fucking prove it, bitch.
No, I literally, like, physically.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm really annoying, to no one's surprise. No, but fighting is good. And I think it's essential for the human psyche, and maybe the Chiss psyche.
Mm-hmm.
I think more people should fight for fun.
I want to fight more for fun.
But also, it's hot. And people, because everyone's like, no, you can't fight people. Nobody wants to talk about how hot it is to fight people. It's kind of gay.
That no one wants to talk about how hot it is to fight people?
Well, fighting people.
Fighting people is gay.
Yeah.
Not derogatory?
Not derogatory. And I guess people might disagree with me
Mm-hmm.
who do like, I don't know, jujitsu's kind of gay.
Jiu-jitsu, 100%.
Because I used to do jujitsu. And that's the other thing. Is like, I, at least for a while, was trained in, like I was doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And I did boxing. And I was friends with a bunch of wrestlers. So like, we were all trained to take people down.
Mm-hmm.
And when you know what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
it's so much more fun.
Yeah.
Maybe I understand Chiss culture because fighting people is so fun. It's such a good time.
Yeah, the last time I fought for fun was when we fenced with your foam swords.
Which are in the garbage now.
Oh, man.
Well,
They're kind of falling apart.
they were falling apart.
Yeah.
And
But that was fun.
It was.
Yeah.
No, fighting is fucking fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a lot of people are like, oh my God,
Violence.
violence is so bad. And like, yeah, I guess there's a risk of head injury or whatever, but that's why you wear helmets. And I think like a lot of people also do not want to talk about the fact, like have you watched MMA? They are way too close. It's a very intimate thing, I guess is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it isn't like inherently sexual, which I think is what makes it so interesting in this chapter.
Yes.
Because like I do immediately associate combat with intimacy because you like are in somebody's face.
Yeah. No, and in the context of this chapter of like their like not date concluding with like an extended fight scene.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's sort of like how feet washing is a metaphor for oral sex in the Bible.
Yep.
That's just what the fight is.
Does that mean Jesus sucked all those guys off?
Maybe. Yes.
Sorry.
No, and also I feel like Thrawn and Thalia's playing cards.
Yeah. See, but I play when I'm like, anybody want to come play cards? I'm serious.
Yeah, so like in this book we learn a lot about the Chiss family structure and how that like relates to the governance of the Chiss ascendancy. Essentially there are 9 ruling families that the leaders of which meet to make major decisions for the ascendancy, and we sort of see how that works out at the start of the book when there's a crisis. And so it got me thinking about just the idea of the relationship between the family and the state and like ideas of governance in this universe, or not the galaxy. This galaxy, not the galaxy far, far away. And
like what?
So, well, first I started thinking about like the sort of like fear mongering about the risks of introducing gay marriage, because like that will like disrupt the formulation of the family, and then if you disrupt the formulation of the family, then like the entire society gets corrupted, which is also
an evolution of Cold War.
Yeah.
Because you say the family dynamic is a model for the state,
Mm-hmm.
and I immediately think about giving women military medals when they have enough children.
And who was doing that?
The Soviet Union and Israel and North Korea.
Cool. It's also something that I've come across in like my research on the interaction between like Greek identity and like the Greek Orthodox Church. There's this sort of idea of like the family, church, and fatherland as like being like the triptych of what it means to be a ideal Greek man. Like you are loyal to the church, the family, and the fatherland.
Who the fuck is loyal to the Greek Orthodox Church?
Literally no one, just mostly based on vibes. No one really knows. This is irrelevant, but there was someone I was talking to, a professor of Greek language at McGill.
So you got is it motherland? Greece is the motherland?
Or fatherland. It's sort of like
the parent land?
The parent land. Oh no, you made it gender neutral, fuck! But
it's against the law!
Yeah, but when I was talking with him about like the perceptions of like queer people and like the church, and he was just like, yeah, it's not necessarily that like Greek people like go to church, know anything about the church, or even really believe in God. But if you suggest a change to the Greek Orthodox liturgy, people will freak the fuck out because you're like disturbing tradition, and they don't care about God or anything really. They just care about the tradition.
Which is fascinating, because not to out myself as someone who, I guess this isn't necessarily historical revisionism, but some would tell me that I have very flawed opinions of religion prior to the modern era and the Enlightenment, because I believe that it's always been like that.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter if you believe in God or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's never mattered. What matters is that you're getting your children confirmed.
Yeah, you're participating in a group ritual to state you're belonging to a thing.
Yeah. Which I guess the familial structure in Chaos Rising kind of does the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't matter if you buy into it or not, you just have to.
Yeah, you at least have to say you do publicly.
Yeah.
Otherwise.
Which means that, like, kind of by default, nobody buys into it.
Yeah.
Because if you have at least a plurality of people who are like, yeah, this is bullshit, everything's bullshit, in the words of Bill Wirtz, suddenly the belief in the structure no longer matters.
Yeah, but if the belief in the structure no longer matters, then why does the structure still exist just because it does?
Why the fuck does a nuclear family still exist? I mean, why does America exist? Why does Canada exist? There are structures that exist that have been so bastardized from their original component. A, the church, and this is coming from someone who is, I guess, culturally Catholic and not culturally whatever the Orthodox / Methodist?
Episcopalian.
Is like, it's really specific, and like, I haven't been to church in over a decade at this point. Wow. Crazy.
We should go to church.
No, because I like going to the Latin masses, and the Latin masses here are fucking weird. Like,
Yeah.
I just like going at 6 a.m., and it's me and 5 old ladies, and I'm drunk and very obviously smell like weed, and they just don't say anything. Not the weird Tratcath new wave bullshit. That's stupid. But if you look at the Catholic Church has modernized quite a bit in ways I think the Orthodox Church has not.
Definitely not.
And it kind of partially backfired, I guess. But also, at least in North America, it's because the Catholic Church became a lot more Protestant and Protestant adjacent. The Catholic Church, and also kind of the Orthodox churches, because now they're different because Russia bad.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
also the idea of autocephaly, the idea, which is different Orthodox churches that were corresponding to each new country.
Wasn't that mostly an anti-Russia thing?
It was anti-Ottoman Empire.
Oh, okay.
And also anti-Russia. Depends on where you are geographically.
Okay, yeah, no,
like, which empire was fucking with you the most?
Like,
no, because of my research, I'm very much my brain is in the Southern Balkans.
I'm thinking Eastern Europe, which some of those places are Catholic and not Orthodox. Mm-hmm. Poland and Hungary are both Catholic, but if you look at like Ukraine.
Oh yeah, that's Russia bad.
Yeah, Russia bad. So now we are the Ukrainian Orthodox Church.
Mm-hmm.
And it also kind of goes back to this idea, and this is kind of a tangent. You know how I've been watching House of David?
Yeah.
Which is the like weird evangelical rendition of the story of David. Saul hasn't even died yet.
Huh?
There's 2 seasons, which is, I feel like if you're going to have a show about King David, you need to show him being king. Except they can't because King David is just a whore.
Okay, it happened. But
the star of that show converted from Coptic Christianity to Roman Catholicism, mm-hmm. which then begs the question of like, at what point did we stop recognizing like the 5 bishops and that kind of like, you know, Alexandria, Jerusalem, mm-hmm. Rome. And there's 2 other ones that I cannot fucking remember.
Istanbul.
Constantinople.
Did you already say Alexandria?
I did say Alexandria.
We should look this up.
Yeah, probably. No, I think it's funny to struggle.
Okay, we got Rome, Constantinople, Alexandria, Antioch, and Jerusalem.
It's like PEI. I always forget PEI. No, but like, I always presumed that if you were part of the 5 bishops, which like technically all orthodoxies come from
one of the 5, yeah.
One of the 5. That you were equally as saved as if, you know, you were Catholic. Mm-hmm. Presumably, that's not the case anymore.
Yeah.
Which is such a Protestant thing.
Right?
Because like, and I'm not baptized. We're going to talk about religion. Yeah, get good. Fucking, I hate that they got rid of purgatory. I wanted to go to purgatory. I was banking on it. There are a lot of Protestantisms that, like, I would argue are not necessarily recognizable as Christianities. And then there's also Mormonism.
Indeed.
They want to be Protestant so bad.
They do.
But I think at its core, what Christianity is like, pretty pictures.
That's what I get out of it.
That's what I get out of it. And like, okay, yeah, I guess you have to fucking believe in Jesus. But do you? Not really.
I am partial to just fucking with one particular saint.
Like, do you need to think Jesus is the Messiah? Not particularly. Is this going to make me convert to Christianity? No, because when you convert, you kind of have to.
Yeah.
which is why adult Catholic converts are weird.
Indeed.
No, I don't think that Christianity, and this is my hot take, is based in believing that Jesus is your savior. It is for some people.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you know what the extent of my Catholicism is? Celebrating St. Nick's Day, which is December 6th. But you get candy in your shoes.
Lit.
And it's like, I don't know. He's from Turkey.
Oh.
Yeah.
Turkey.
And he kept throwing, and that's where like Santa comes from. And also he pickled children to reanimate them, which is why he's associated with kids.
Sort of like a Bacta tank.
I love him. He is my favorite saint, even though did he perform miracles? I don't know. Who gives a shit? It meant that as a child I got candy in my nice shoes on a day where other people did not get candy, which made me feel cool and different and not like other girls. But yeah, I don't remember why I went on this tangent.
Because I was talking about changing traditions in the Greek Orthodox Church and how this one professor I was talking to was like, no one cares, but they'll get so mad if you suggest let's do liturgy in modern Greek.
I remember my point. If you look at Quebec, and also most other Catholic places, and I'm not saying like the pre-Vatican and Vatican II church was good. No. That's not what I'm arguing.
I would never imagine.
But I think post-Vatican II is too Protestant.
Sure.
Like, you gotta have a little of the...
You gotta have something to touch and smell.
Yeah.
Smell, eat.
Catholic churches still do the incense.
Yeah.
I fucking love myrrh. It's my favorite scent. I love
myrrh. God, also, dude, the church I grew up going to doesn't serve wine at communion anymore. It's fucking grape juice. I'm so upset about it.
I'm so happy I was not baptized, nor given my first communion.
I didn't have first communion. That's not an Episcopalian thing.
No, I'm just allergic to wine.
Oh,
they
true.
give 7-year-olds wine in the Catholic Church.
Oh, that's right.
Imagine if I would have gone into anaphylactic shock at like 5.
This child's the fucking Antichrist. She's allergic to the blood of God. The cup of salvation.
Maybe it's because I'm not baptized.
Maybe. If only you were to get baptized, maybe you wouldn't be allergic to wine anymore. God.
No, it had to happen as a baby.
It's too late.
Instead, my mom lied to a priest. This is why my life is the way that it is. Because my mother lied to more than one priest about me and my brother's baptism. Iconic. Yeah.
Okay.
Back to your thing. I'm sorry I'm derailing.
I thought that was great. And so apparently, I don't know shit about dick about Aristotle, but according to Wikipedia, he has thoughts about...
Well, that's because you're not a medieval...
I'm not a medieval...
clergyman.
Indeed.
They loved him.
Yeah. But there were 2 major areas about like the idea of like family and governance that I did a fair amount of research in. I'm going to start with the one that I know the least about. Which is Confucianism. But the main thing I remember from learning about ancient and medieval China in 9th grade world history is the concept of filial piety, which is where I just was like, hello, JSTOR, what do you have to say about this? So a very broad strokes understanding of it that also I was just like, hello, my roommate who has for some reason been doing a bunch of deep dives into the history of China because of this one book series they're reading.
What book series?
Heaven's Official Blessing.
What is that?
It's apparently it's like fantasy set in China that has a magic system based on Chinese mythology and has some gay subtext that sort of gets around the CCP's censorship.
To be fair, most of the gay subtext gets around the CCP censorship.
Yeah, but that's like what...
It's only when it's overt that it's a problem.
Yeah, that's that. Because I'm running off of a 14-year-old's memory and an article I skimmed this morning.
That's me all the time.
Yeah. I'm just going to read this quote from this book, and maybe I'll have thoughts about this after. Later on, Confucius's ideas of ethical relationships expanded the concept of filial piety more explicitly. If the ruler behaves like a ruler, the minister will behave like a minister. If the father behaves like a father, the son will behave like a son. Therefore, the ethical relationships in traditional Chinese ethical thought had a connection with the family and hierarchy and expanded from family ethics to social and ethical relations. And this sort of reminded me of the connection between like individual morals, individual honor, family honor of the Chiss Ascendancy as like...
Going back to this is just the romance of the 3 kingdoms.
Yeah.
We love the romance of the 3 kingdoms.
We do love the romance of the 3 kingdoms. The focus on individual honor, we have sort of this example of this at the beginning of Thrawn treason, when it's like when we first meet, second time that we meet Admiral Arlani, because we first meet her at the end of Thrawn, when Eli fucks off to the Ascendancy. They're on the deck of the Steadfast, whatever the fuck her ship is there. I don't know. It's in the prologue of Thrawn Treason. Her senior captain is mumbling to himself about how foolish the Imperials are. Imperial fools, the exact worst time, the exact worst place. Patience, senior captain, Arlani admonished, gazing out at the starfield wrapped around the bridge viewports. She found this annoying as well, but that wasn't a reason to abandon his dignity and self-control, which I think is hilarious because I think him just saying that they're in the wrong place at the wrong time is like not that much of an outburst.
Well, it is when
Yeah.
the way that Thrawn greeted Eli Vanto was incredibly warm.
Mm-hmm. Good day, Lieutenant Vanto.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel kind of iffy about like drawing like comparisons between like the Chiss Ascendancy and like Confucianism.
Why?
Because of
racism?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's okay to talk about religion in a way that, like, the point of a lot of Buddhism is to be reserved.
Mm-hmm.
The point, like, modesty.
Yeah.
Kind of like intellectual modesty. And I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah. I don't think so either, but do you know the feeling of like when there are like two parts of your brain? There's like the part that generates words and the parts that generates thoughts, and the parts that generates words and the parts that generates thoughts are not talking to each other.
No, I've never experienced that. Will you elaborate on that?
What I mean is like I know that there are things I have to say. They're like here. I can feel them.
Okay.
But the access between that segment of my brain and the part that's up here that like
does the words
and creates meaning, they're not talking to each other.
No, I don't think I have that. I just say things.
Word.
I don't really think about saying them, which maybe is why Thomas thinks I don't have a filter. Even though I do. Like, I have thoughts that I don't say, but I don't necessarily think about what I say, if that makes sense.
I know what you mean.
Okay, so for the purpose of this exercise, yes, I understand what you mean.
All right, you don't have to understand what I mean. Well, because the other thing too that like sort of got me thinking about this was what I'd read about like the link between Confucianism and ancestor worship, and that or like ancestor veneration, and then what Thalius goes through at the myth trials, where she encounters Thuraki like among these memorial staffs, and the staffs are sort of, they seem to like, they're not like there for the purpose of intercession or prayer to the ancestors for like the point of them like intervening in your life, because I think my understanding of various systems that include ancestor veneration, there is like one sense.
Can you define what ancestor veneration is?
Ancestor veneration is, I think it usually includes marking of where the deceased's body is, not necessarily, because I think you can have shrines to them in your own home, but it's sort of, there's a feeling that your ancestors are present to you so long as you demonstrate your remembrance of them. And at least in what I read about Confucianism, the ancestors were seen as a way for an individual to access a more wider being of the cosmos, but it was like in a smaller, instead of, it was a weird article that compared, I didn't keep reading it because I was like, this has weird vibes, because it's comparing like the monotheistic religions of Judaism, Islam, and Christianity to religions.
Well, I don't know about Islam.
Yeah. But like, yeah, there is fucking ancestor worship, at least in some, what I know of Christianity.
And also, to a certain extent, Judaism.
Yeah.
Well, like, what the fuck is a yard site?
There you go. Yeah.
That's ancestor veneration. Whether or not they believe this doesn't matter. But the belief is that you are basically stuck in this kind of middle ground for a day short of a year. So then you light a candle in an effort to help them move to the world beyond. And this goes back to my point. Whether or not you think this shit is real or not, you're still participating in the ritual. I know there are some differences. No, but I get what you mean.
Yeah.
So, like, you want to talk, I guess we have to find a distinction. Because also, a lot of, I don't know, fuck all about Protestantism. You're not necessarily exclusively praying to God.
No.
Or Jesus. Not that I've ever done. Wait, no. I prayed one time and I thought it was stupid. Fun fact about me. I was like, this...
Not for me.
Not for me. Who am I talking to? This is weird. I guess you could say non-theistic, but I wouldn't necessarily consider Buddhism to be a non-theistic religion.
Yeah. Because
that's like basing itself off of like an anthropomorphized God, which also Judaism does not have, and Islam also does not have.
Yeah.
It's really just Zoroastrianism and Christianity that got that.
Mm-hmm. Well, because the other thing too is like, I feel like generally speaking, or at least in like my encounterings of just scholars of religion or like the study of religion, like the ancestor worship is sort of categorized as like a more less advanced, more primitive type of thing to do in.
I just don't think that's true.
And I don't think it's true either. But I think...
Well, that's just a way for the British to be racist when they're conquering fucking India, pretty much.
Indeed. Yeah.
I don't know. It's in the same way that people presume that monotheistic religions are the natural evolution of what a religion is.
Which is really funny, because like you get a monotheistic religion and then
you almost immediately are like, no, but there's three separate parts.
Yes.
And they're all the same, but they're not the same.
They're different. You know how like water can be gas, liquid, and ice? No. It's like the Trinity.
That makes no sense.
I know.
I realize you gotta suspend disbelief for that, but I can't. It just makes no...
I don't think Christianity is for you, friend.
It's not. That's why I did not. Oh, my cousin is an adult Catholic convert.
That's crazy. Anyway, so I have this little note about the trials.
They're also not venerating every ancestor.
No, I know.
Which makes it more interesting.
Yeah.
Because there's like people who are worth remembering and people who aren't.
Yeah, it's like pretty much only syndics or aristocrats or patriarchs.
Which may not reflect what people are doing in real life.
Well, because there's this one Thuraki, the patriarch of the myth, like points out some spire to Thalius, and this is when she realizes that the spikes that she's walking through are graves, and she gets an electric jolt running through her when she realizes what she was looking at. Someone of myth blood, a syndic, counselor, or some other upper-level aristocrat was memorialized here. The large spike surrounded by the memorials of those he'd brought into the myth from other families, which is interesting because are the people that he brought in memorialized, or are they just there to like emphasize his successes in life?
On the side of F-15,
Yeah.
No, that's fascinating.
And so, I don't know. So to me, the trials seem like they're obviously a ritual.
As is everything.
As is everything. And what's interesting, like this trials start with Thalius has to like map her path in Map of the Ascendancy. So she has to like trace her own personal journey. Then she has to like do stuff to test her. It's such a weird, like she has to get across a channel of water with just a bunch of 2x4s. Yeah. It's not funny. And I think it's interesting that like the final task of the trials is just to climb a mountain.
Hey, that shit's hard.
Yeah.
A lot of people die doing that.
No, people, I'm not saying that, it's not to denigrate the act of climbing a mountain as not being difficult, but it's like the fact that like if you're climbing a mountain, that you're surrounded by like grave spires, that you start by like reflecting on your own personal journey and you conclude surrounded by things memorializing your ancestors. I feel like it's like a sort of pyramid of where you are and then your greater context. And going back to how the connection between like the individual, the family, governance, I feel like the trials are sort of a minor statement on that, or like a minor reflection of that. I don't know.
Can I say something stupid?
Of course.
This is not China. This is Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And also, my understanding of feudal Japan is entirely based off Inuyasha.
Mm-hmm.
Disclaimer. I do think and maybe this is it's not particularly different from like European feudalism either, but I do think you have much more of a, not like honor code, because those did exist in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Bitches love an oath.
Chivalry, baby.
We love oaths. We love giving oaths. Before the Norman invasion, the British Isles were like entirely based on oath. Like that was their whole legal system was oath. You're kind of born having this like immense piety to a landlord, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And there is nothing you can do about that unless you yourself are born into nobility. But it does kind of function similarly as well, where it's like you are expected to give a shit. I mean, that's what society is, I guess. That's all. This was so half-baked.
Just how society is just you being expected to give a shit.
Yeah.
It's so true, though.
You really got to care about things.
It's
all the time.
Unfortunate. Anyway, so it just seems to be like a common pattern, or I don't know, of the idea of the family, government, morals, because I also was like interested in the idea of merit in relation to the family, and that sort of led me down a path where I found this article on favoritism, patronage, and the family system in England circa 1700 to 1850, And what's interesting, this article didn't give me exactly what I wanted, but it gave me, which feels unfair to ask an article to give you, just like, sometimes I read something and I'm like, I want you to confirm the thoughts I have, and that's just not how things work.
No.
But I learned a lot.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So I love when that happened. Well, I learned that this article basically just maps changing perspectives of like favoritism and nepotism between this time period. And it starts with a summary of this book that just sort of like warns about the dangers of favoritism. There was this sort of understanding that the family favorite in England was always going to be the most fucked up kid you've ever raised, which...
That's why you hate your children.
Yeah, it's good to hate your children.
It's good to hate your kids. Everyone should hate their kids more than they do.
I agree.
You shouldn't have kids because you'll love them.
No.
No. That's what's wrong with society these days.
It is.
We need to feel more disdain for our children.
Like, what is this fucking thing? And so what's funny is that many things are funny. Yeah, because like going back to the Chiss Ascendancy, we got this summary about like the family system and like why it became based on merit when you included a new person in your family. This is in the first chapter. Once, thousands of years ago, families had been just that, groups of people bound by blood and marriage and closed to everyone else. But the inherent limitations of such a system had led to decline and stratification, and some of the patriarchs had begun experimenting with methods for absorbing outsiders that didn't involve marriage. The result had been the current system, where likely prospects could be brought in as merit adoptives, with those who proved themselves especially worthy raising to trial-born and possibly even ranking distant. It is actually in Memories 1, which is when Thurfian
is like
recruits
oh
Varan.
My god, this guy's so autistic.
It's the most autistic child I've ever seen. I kind of hate him.
What the fuck is wrong with him?
Yeah.
And he hates children.
Yeah.
As is the way of the world.
So obviously this is like not like a one-to-one comparison between like the shift away from, you know, nepotism, because this is like the article particularly like focused on like not exactly the aristocracy, the middle class, like the professional class in England,
The petit bourgeois,
oui, who and
they want to emulate the upper class.
Yeah, they do.
That's why they all get servants.
Yes. And then also what's interesting is like the difference between the Chiss context and like the British context, ignoring the fact that they're you know, one is a multi-planetary isolationist system and one is
a multi-island isolationist at one point was an empire, but now they really hate immigrants.
Indeed, they really do hate immigrants. They're so Chiss. It seems to be trendy for nations to hate immigrants right now. No, a hot political take.
It was trendy 100 years ago. I wonder what happened after that.
Nothing went poorly.
Nothing went badly at all.
Everything has always been fine and will always be fine.
I can't wait for the post-war economic miracle when I'm like 50.
And to resent my children. This article, I don't know, what's interesting is like what exactly is like meant by decline and stratification in the Chiss system. I feel like it's not precisely about like the detriment of favoritism. It's probably more just the detriment of incest. So it's given
Habsburgs.
It's very much giving Habsburgs.
You know who's in? Okay, so fuck, I don't remember. His last name looks like Hyundai. It's like Jonas Hunyadi or something. The Hungarian guy. He was king of Hungary. Sorry, this is kind of off topic, but right before he became king of Hungary in like 1430 something, I don't know. This is all coming from this is all coming from a biopic series I started watching yesterday while I was really high. The guy who was king of Hungary right before him was like this Austrian dude who was a Habsburg. And it kind of is like not parsed out entirely, but there's a lot of incest in those kind of familial structures as well. Which a lot of it is like, this is very obviously like sexual abuse that's been going on forever. Which they would never get into in the Chiss Ascendancy. But I wonder how that works.
Yeah, right?
Sorry.
And so what's interesting is like, it's different because like, I feel like the incest undertones like aren't so much a thing in like the British petit bourgeois, but probably a bit. But
they are in the British aristocracy.
Yes, but not for this particular study.
I know, but Philip and Lizzie were cousins, and Albert and Victoria were cousins.
But what's interesting is like that in Britain, like the idea of meritocracy was introduced as a means of like counteracting the corrosive force of nepotism, and which is funny because like obviously the idea that like 19th century England would have like a true meritocracy is like borderline hilarious,
fucking hilarious,
because of racism, sexism, ableism, and everything in between. But it's interesting too because like the idea who your family is and what your profession could be is also very much interlinked in.
It's a very feudal concept.
Or
like a mercantile concept.
Yeah. both in the Chiss Ascendancy and in the British Empire around this time.
Yes.
And so the idea of having your son take over your family business was at one point like seen as like a good and normal thing. But then apparently it became seen as popish and decadent to sort of just grant your eldest son access to the family business. And so it became more popular to, instead of have your kid like take over the family business, you would first of all hate it, second of all encourage your kid to foster professional skills. And
also at this point the middle class is probably, I presumably could be wrong about this, mostly because I don't give a fuck about England, but they were probably starting to get involved in kind of the whole going to university, doing that shit.
Indeed. But
because university is not about finding a job. Never has been.
Yeah. Anyway, so I feel like the concept of like you go get a job on your own merit was sort of like more idealized as a contrast to favoritism. Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, this is not a perfect one-to-one comparison, but since this article focuses on the changing of kinship in relation to the professional sphere at a turning point in English history, this article made me think in more concrete terms about like the Chiss shift from exclusively blood relations to their present system. And so like I have like two questions, one of which I already asked, which is like what the fuck is exactly meant by decline and stratification? Which,
probably Habsburgs.
But then...
or like Egyptian pharaohs. They're also very inbred.
Yes. And so then like because the shift from favoritism to like a gesture towards an idea of meritocracy came at like a time of like social upheaval in England. Like I started thinking,
no, I get
it's just like what like
would you
what
like to hear my thoughts?
Yes, please. I would love to hear your thoughts.
Chilla, or whatever the fuck, however the fuck you pronounce that.
It's Chilla.
Chilla. That's too similar to the Chahala trees.
Yes,
I
but
don't like it.
Those books don't exist anymore.
They do in Timothy Zahn's mind, which is
true,
why we're doing
right.
it like this.
I know, you're right.
Even though we didn't read Outbound Flight.
We should read Outbound Flight.
Well, I'm getting everything I need to know from Outbound Flight from that Lorana Ginsler and Thras fic I've been reading.
That's great.
By the woman who also wrote the Thrawn May fic.
My hero.
My hero. Who would have guessed? Never would have thought. Is that at one point it was not covered in ice.
Interesting. Well, yeah.
There was a point prior, they're in a glacial maximum, I guess. Even though I don't know if they would use that word, or if Star Wars in general would use that word, but the last time there was a glacial maximum on Earth, we invented civilization. Europe was abandoned. It was literally like the fucking Younger Dryas. And it just got real cold for a minute. And by a minute, I mean just thousands of years. So I wonder if it's kind of that thing. It's like as you have kind of a, not receding, encroaching like glacial which is like destroying your community. It's like then you do kind of start to abandon those ideas because they're not going to work. Like when, how many, it was something like 80 to 90% of hominids, like by and large, died during the Younger Dryas. And then, now we got temples with dicks on them in Turkey.
Shout out.
We did some crazy shit, like building temples and putting dicks on them. And inventing agriculture and cities and civilizations and stuff. So I wonder if it's like kind of that thing, is like as you have this rapidly changing climate, which is something that humanity has dealt with multiple times. Not that climate change is not
bad and real,
but like we've done it before. Most people died, but it's fine. The people who didn't die, I don't know, they've all been dead for 15,000 years. Who gives a shit? I'm supposed to feel bad for a Neanderthal that died 23,000 years ago? No. Do you see what I mean?
I do, yeah.
It's like you have these like really rapid environmental changes, which may happen again because there are some theories, or hypotheses, I guess, that the Younger Dryas was caused by the collapse of the jet stream in the Atlantic. And that's happening maybe again.
Good Lord.
So it might happen again.
Yippee!
Because it actually has a really fun inverse effect where like ocean too warm, jet stream collapse, then ocean get really cold and Europe get really cold. Because basically what keeps Europe like temperate is that jet stream.
Yes.
So, and that's like why they don't call it global warming anymore. It's probably because like the world is still pretty Eurocentric. But if the jet stream collapses, Europe will become a lot more like Siberia or like the Northwest Territories and none of it than Europe.
Word.
Which they, even today, I don't think they could deal with. But it could be something similar to that, and that's why they changed their entire social structure. Because the last time that happened to humans, we fucked Neanderthals out of existence.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did. Thanks for joining us on this incredibly derailed conversation about Thrawn
Allegedly.
Chaos. Allegedly about Chaos Rising, and even though we ended up talking about autism, which is not caused by vaccines. Do you have anything you want to say? Next time we'll be covering
Greater good, baby.
it'll be a great time, or maybe it won't. Maybe we will derail.
But I'm almost done with the book, and
That's
this
great.
time I swear to God I will do external research. I swear to God, because I don't know enough about things to just have things to say.
Have you thought about lying until you do? That's what I do.
I don't know.
You just start saying things, and then eventually you learn things, and then you
Mm.
just say things you know. And on that note, don't forget to commit fraud to get a job.
Fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it. We will see you next time.
I need to snap out of my mood. It's really dark.
Do you want me to do a little jig?
Nah.
Are you sure?
Nah.